Are you pinnable? Let's take a look. Welcome to Decorating Tips and Tricks. I'm Anita Joyce with Kelly Wilkness. This is episode 321, the top Pinterest trends for 2019. I'm so excited to be talking about this. This is going to be fun, Kelly. And the show notes for today's episode can be found at decoratingtipsandtricks.com/321.
Yes, 250 million people are on Pinterest, and the top trends are pulled from searches that are made, and they see what people are searching over a 6-month period, and those that sort of bubble to the top are the top trends in all the categories. So we're going to be going through the top trends on Pinterest in the home decor category today.
So these were very interesting. I felt these top Pinterest trends, and these are things that are being pinned right now. It's a little deja vu-y to me.
Yeah, how so?
Well, I mean, like there are a lot of retro things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that, right? Mm-hmm. So she want to just go through the list and then talk about how we feel about them and maybe how people can implement these trends in their homes? Okay.
That's right. I mean, the first one I saw was mustard yellow becoming the color.
I don't know.
Do you like mustard yellow?
I think you might remember, and everybody who's listening might know, that is my accent color. Hello. I've talked about it before.
Okay. Well, then that cuts out everything I was going to say next.
You can say anything you want about it. I don't love the word mustard, and I don't like mustard. I'm definitely more of a ketchup girl when it comes to burgers and hot dogs and stuff. So I like to call it like a saffron yellow or a burnt yellow. It doesn't have to be that more grayish, greenish, mustardy yellow.
Well, see, now you're changing things. See, I think I think those other yellows sound like prettier yellows to me. Mustard yellow doesn't sound pretty.
I think it was just the word they used, because then they also call it rebel yellow, which is, kind of like, that's just the term that they used for the Pinterest article. And then the Gen Z yellow. So I think it's a broader category or color wave than just mustard. And I'm definitely loving that color. It does a lot for my house. I started using that color here because some of the smaller panes and the inlays in my windows are yellow.
Okay.
And so I wanted to just keep that color going. Plus, I've always loved that color. It's the color of sunflowers. It's the color of lots of things that I really love. So, and it looks great with the black and the white and the gray. So I'm really happy about that one.
Well, that's true. And I like the yellow that you have in your house, but I don't see this as the color that you have. So as I say this is not about the color in your house.
Okay.
But the mustard yellow kind of reminds me of the 70s with those yellow refrigerators.
Oh, yeah. I could totally get that.
Did you have one with the brown trim around the edges to make it even more yellow?
No, we had an avocado colored refrigerator, which was fabulous. But yeah, I can see where you're going with that. It's definitely, there are good shades of this type of yellow, and there are bad shades of it. And it also does bring back certain memories from that time frame. But I think it's a color that can be used in really fresh ways. We saw it a lot, maybe 8 years ago, 10 years ago, when it started to come into vogue with the grays. There was a lot of fabrics done in the grays and the whites and the yellows. Remember that? It was kind of that mustardy yellow, but now it's coming back sort of on its own. And I think it really does a lot for certain palettes. It definitely is a very extreme pop in my house, and I like the way that looks.
Yeah. So I guess my comment on this would just to be very careful about the particular shade you're using, because I think some of them but some people, if it has a retro feel, 1970s, they think that's a cool thing. But for me, I personally think of the 70s as a dark time for fashion and for design.
The dark time.
Those were the dark years.
Yeah. Yeah. And I respect the way you're looking at this and your views 100%. But the way I look at this yellow is it's happy and poppy. And I like the fact that it also could go sort of from the autumn into the spring and the summer. And for me, we don't really do deep, dark winter here. So it kind of works for me all year round.
Yeah. And I do like yellow. So anyway, so that was just that. So yeah. So let's talk about then how you can add it. I think you kind of did talk a little bit about that. I suggest not doing the washer, dryer, refrigerator in the yellow.
I'm with you on that.
So I'm kind of thinking that's probably not the best idea there.
Yeah.
Because it will go out. But I think if you're going to be adding it in pillows and throws and textiles, maybe in a rug, something like that, I think that's going to be a lot safer way to add the color in a way that when you're tired of it, if you do tire of it later, it will be easy to take out.
Exactly. And that's pretty much how I have added it. The other aspect of this type of yellow is it kind of goes hand in hand with gold, whether it's an unlacquered gold or whether it's even a little, not the shiny brass, but was a little bit more gilded. You know, the gilded that we love, like in the frames that we love and all of that.
I love gold with gray. I used to not. I used to think silver was the only way to go there, but the gold, it really looks beautiful.
It warms it up, right? It warms up the gray.
Does.
So that's kind of what I've got going on because I have so much gray in my house. So I really like that. And then the natural extension to me from this gildy gold was this really warm yellow.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to go. So
it's 45% uptick in pinning or searching for this rebel yellow. And of course I love that name. I'm like, forget the mustard. Pass me the rebel yellow. So yeah, I'm totally going with that. Yeah. What's your accent color? Rebel yellow. Love that.
I don't know why is this such a rebellious color?
I don't know, but it feels good. I'm so not a rebel these days.
It's probably people like me going, no, this is the color from the 70s. And they go, I don't care. I'm a rebel.
Bring it on. Exactly.
Like, okay, it's your house.
Riding into town on my Harley with my rebel yellow pillows.
Okay, there. Yeah, I'm not seeing that, but
on
whatever.
That note,
that's right. I'm the one with the motorcycle license.
Exactly. I was going to say, it should just be clear. I never drove a motorcycle, but Anita has had a license and had a motorcycle on top
but it
of
wasn't yellow. It wasn't yellow.
No, I wouldn't have a yellow motorcycle. That is not rebel-y.
No,
okay,
but
we better move on.
I know, but you're just reminding me. I want a Vespa now.
Oh yeah, I've always wanted a Vespa. Okay.
Yeah, so I still want that. But okay, so on to the next one, which is contemporary fireplaces, sleek, modern, clean lines. And so
I love this.
Well, I actually like this. It's very contemporary looking. So what we're looking for is something that's not traditional, something very clean lines, probably no mantle or just a very sleek mantle. Not brick, maybe it's all stone or marble. I mean, how else would you describe?
Yeah, no, I think, and it doesn't really have a surround. There's just sort of the simple opening. Oftentimes if there is stone, it's a single slab and it may go all the way up, or maybe it's just plastered, but there's no break. As you said, there's no mantle. Oftentimes there's not even any art above it because the actual, facade of the fireplaplace becomes the art, right? I mean, there are a few images that I looked at that I just thought was so beautiful. I mean, it looked like real marble. I don't know, but the slab must have been absolutely gigantic, and I could not see any seams. I mean, it just was phenomenal.
Yeah, that might be manufactured if they were able to do it with no seams. That's very interesting. Yes, it's a beautiful look. I think on these, the opening is another thing that often is different rather than a traditional. I guess the firebox tends to be kind of square. Would you say in a traditional fireplace? So sometimes these are very long, very wide, and not very tall. So think of a panoramic view. So maybe, I don't know, I'm looking at one here. It looks like it's probably about a foot tall, and it looks like it's about 4 feet wide.
Wow. Yeah. I've seen ones more kind of like shaped like a shoebox on its side. You know, it's not quite that narrow, but yeah, I think that definitely lends to the contemporary look. And then you're not going to have really the if it's gas, you're not going to have the log set, sitting on
I think
the little metal thing.
I think they usually are gas. I don't think these tend to be wood burning. Right. And you're right. They don't have the faux logs. I think they tend to have maybe some gas jets in some igneous rock where you just see some fire shooting up. I've seen these in restaurants, that sort of setting, ski lodges, and it's a very modern look. It's very pretty.
Where I've seen it most up close and personal was in the HGTV house when they invited me to go up to Seattle area and visit the house and tour it and all that. So I can link to that house and my post on that house in the show notes so you can see it. It was absolutely stunning, very sleek and modern. And, the house had a rustic feel to it, but they did just such a great job. And so this fireplace was really the focal point, as it should have been, of this living room. And it was very much like what we're talking about now. Just, some stone, really not much of a mantle. There may have been some hearth from what I recollect, but very simple. And the fireplace was going, and it just was so inviting and beautiful. Another thing that you can use with this type of look, or if you're trying to convert your fireplace, even if it's a more traditional fireplace, but you want to give it a little bit of a modern twist or a little updated twist, is obviously, if it's gas, not a real log burning one, you can take out the log set and then you can replace it with the shards of glass, the rock that's glass.
Oh,
that is reflective. I first saw this at a hotel that we stayed at down in Dana Point, and we walked into the restaurant, and this was the big fireplace that you saw when you first walked in, and the glass was blue. And I mean, it just struck me. And I'm not a blue girl, but it struck me. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. And this was years and years ago. And I thought, if I ever do, a fireplace that's not real, I would love to do that. So when we did the fireplace here outside, that's what we have. So mines are kind of like clear and gold tones and whatnot. But I'm working with my client right now to do some tweaking in her living room. And she's got this old stone fireplace. Her house is sort of mid-century. So it's stone, but so it's not really sleek, but it has that mid-century look to it. The stone goes all the way up to the ceiling. And it was just the traditional log set, that was very old. And that it had the chain closure, like, and you close it up. And so we took all of that out. I spray painted the inside black high heat paint for her. I put sand in the bottom. In fact, I just did this yesterday. I finished it yesterday. And then on top of it, her accent color is this tealish blue. So we did clear light blue and then a smattering of the teal glass stones on top of it. It is spectacular.
That sounds gorgeous. And something else you can do, now this is not a cheap fix, but you can have your fireplace recovered with new material, plastered or covered with marble or whatever. I mean, you can have it redone. And I don't know if sometimes they may take off what's there now, and sometimes they build around it to add something. So, that can be done if you really don't like the look of it.
Yeah. I mean, you could take off if you had a mantle surround that you didn't really care for. It'd probably be more complicated if there was a hearth involved in all of that, because then it's raised. So that might be a little strange. But if it's just surrounding it and it meets the floor, you can just take that off. And then
you're talking about a mantle.
Right. But the whole, the mantle surround.
Well, you're talking about
come off.
Well, you're talking about you're talking about the antique ones. I'm talking about sometimes it's a whole, it's bricked all the way up to the ceiling or something.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So, I mean, we're talking about two different things. I mean, obviously, depending on what kind of a surround you have will require a different solution. But, talk to a handyman if you want to rip it out and just see what might be involved.
Yeah, because that would really be a game changer.
And the ones you're talking about, that would be pretty easy to take off.
Yeah, right. And then it's gas, and then you could change the logs to the stones, and it's a completely different look.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great way to update. You could easily get a completely different look in your room.
Right. And if anybody is interested in those glass fire stones, just don't go home and break a lot of bottles. That's not going to work for you. But you can buy them on Amazon. I found such a price point difference between the Fireplace online stores or Fireplace brick and mortar stores. On Amazon, it's averaging around $24 for 10 pounds. Now, 10 pounds of glass, it's not a tremendous amount. You probably, depending on the size of your fireplace, you're going to need probably 8 to 10 orders. So almost 80 to 100 pounds.
Wow. You think you need that? Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. Because, you get it and then you pour it in there. And you're like, wow, that's not a lot.
Well, it's heavy too. So,
right.
Yeah. And you definitely, like you said, you want to buy something made for this because you don't want glass that's not going to be able to handle that kind of heat that might pop and break.
Yeah.
With the heat and you don't want those sharp edges. So don't DIY this one.
No, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So the next Pinterest trend for 2019, big upward tick in the searches for textile art, over 1,700% increase in people searching for textile art. And, when I first think of textile art, I think of those macrame things, which we don't like. We totally respect it if you like it, but we don't like it. And we kind of know that that's on the way out. But here's the thing. It's a little bit different what people are actually ultimately landing on it. It's more like displaying weavings in a frame or hanging rugs, which I think you've done, Anita, right?
Yes, I did. I have hung rugs on the wall, and I think that's a great way to have some artwork on the wall. If you're on a budget, you can always just hang one on the wall and you've got this massive piece of artwork. So you can do that. And like you said, I think of macrame too. What I'm seeing that's a little different now is it tends to be artwork. It tends to be something, the macrame from the 70s. I think of these little things that people made and then they put their pot in it, their plant with the pot in it hanging from the ceiling. But this tends to be something hanging on the wall, and it tends to have color from what I'm seeing. That's kind of how it's a little bit different now, but it does smack of the macrame from the 70s. And, I've already said what I think about, the 70s. So, but listen, this is a little different. I mean, if you like it, great. And I think it's a little bit different, but I'm just saying that's why I have an aversion to it is I think it's just because I associate it with the 70s, but that's me. And, and not all of this is that way. I mean, some of the textile art I've seen is art and it's framed and it's almost like somebody did a rug. I mean, so some of this really is that I've seen is quite lovely. And I think it's lovely.
Yeah. Yes. And then, so that makes it non-70s. But yes, I mean, but my mind does go to that same place and I see the macrame, plant hanger with the wandering Jew plant in it, straggling down. And you're like, okay, we're done with that. Let's not go back to that. But what I think is also what's going on with this textile art is actual artisan work. Like picture, the pottery / textile weaving shop that you wander in, in Vermont or Ojai, California or something like that, where, it's beautiful art and it's not set in a certain decade. It's just transcends.
Well, and I have a friend who's a textile artist and she has one of those, I guess it's a weaving. I don't know what that thing is called. A loom. She has a loom in her house.
Wow.
And so I think she makes things like this. I mean, and she's quite an artist. So, I mean, it's definitely, when I think of that, then I have a much happier thought about it. And, it is artistry. And I mean, and this is very similar to making a fabric or to making a rug or something. So I think it's a lovely thing. And the whole idea of of artisan, textiles, I love that idea. Maybe we could even put in this category like a hand painted silk or some other painted canvas, the rugs. There's some beautiful tribal rugs. I think that would be gorgeous on a wall. The abusons, that would be beautiful on the wall as well. So I think there's a lot of things, a lot of ways you could incorporate this. And I think it has a very one of a kind look and a very, artisanal look.
Yeah. And it's just one practical tip on hanging rug on the wall or, a big textile or a quilt or something like that. If you're in an apartment or you're in an attached townhouse or something like that, that might be a great way to help with the sound. Because,
great idea.
Yeah, because it's a natural sound barrier and bounce things off. I mean, everybody knows if you're in a restaurant or something that doesn't have a lot of texture, a lot of fabrics, it tends to be really loud. So adding anything like that in your home will definitely help to soundproof it a little bit. Don't you just love a great recommendation from a friend? Well, we're delighted to be recommending these companies and their wonderful products to you today. And let them know your friends at DTT sent you. BritBox just keeps getting better. The new Archie is amazing. And it's not the comics. It's about Cary Grant. Archie is the brand new limited series starring Jason Isaacs as Archie Leach, the man who became Cary Grant. From the award-winning screenwriter of Philomena, Archie tells Grant's born in Britain, made in Hollywood story, the dramatic grit to glamour transformation that led him to become one of the most famous people in the world. You are going to absolutely love the acting, but also the styling, the outfits, the scenery. It's the first time his story has been told in collaboration with his daughter Jennifer Grant and ex-wife Diane Cannon. The performances from Jason Isaacs and the rest of the cast are amazing, and it's only available on BritBox. So sign up for BritBox today to stream Archie and other fan favorites from any device. And we have a special limited time offer for our U.S. and Canadian listeners. Get 50% off, yes, that's 50% off your first month when you sign up for a monthly plan. But only if you go to BritBox.com and use our promotion code DTT at checkout. You're going to love Archie. So head over right now and get 50% off your first month of BritBox. Use the promotion code DTT at BritBox.com. Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants. I have something else on this list that's in my house.
Oh, do tell.
Tin ceilings.
Oh, I do love
Or tin
those.
ceiling tiles, even take it away, not necessarily on the ceiling. I remember when I first moved to California, and it was the first time I went to the Rose Bowl. So that was 14, 15 years ago. And the tin ceiling tiles, on their own, been salvaged, or, then of course, 3-4 years later, it was all repros. But the tin ceiling tiles that had been salvaged were being framed, oftentimes in some chippy kind of wood frame, something like that. They were so hot. And I bought a bunch of those just as wall art. And had those for quite some time. But then I felt like that kind of just, everybody was seeing it everywhere. And then it was, trickle down to your TJ Maxx's and things like that. So then I probably donated mine someplace and I didn't have it. And then we moved into this house and it has a tin ceiling in the dining room. And I love it. It was silver when we moved in, and I painted it the simply white to match everything else. But, they're coming back, whether you're putting them on the ceiling or on the wall.
Well, for a long time, I had some antique tiles, ceiling tiles on my wall at our house. And there were I had 4 very large pieces, and they all fit together to create the pattern, as you know. And I thought it was a beautiful look. There was a lot of paint that had chipped off. So they had lots of texture, lots of chippiness to them. And I thought they were really lovely. I at some point though, I was kind of ready to move on to something else. So they're actually in my garage right now.
Oh, you still have yours.
I still have them.
Good for you.
Yeah. But so, yeah, so I still have them, but it is a great look. And if you're going to be doing a ceiling, you're probably going to have to buy new ones because you probably won't be able to find enough vintage ones to fill your entire ceiling. But there are companies that make the new ones and that are very nice. So you could do that.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of companies that make the new ones. There's even metal crown molding that you can purchase to go along with it. We had some in the kitchen here, but because of the way we had to change the line of the ceiling a little bit. It was kind of weird the way it was dipping down. And so we had to take those down. And I saved those that were salvaged from the kitchen ceiling, but they're really hard to remove. So if they don't do it the right way, they really get damaged. So, so if you're trying to buy them and use them, repurposed ones that are salvaged, it might be difficult. So I agree with Anita. It's probably better just to go with new ones. And it's really, other than maybe having some cool patina on it from paint or whatever, they're made very much, it's tin, and they're made very much like they were, hundreds of years ago.
Well, and you can get them in the color that you want, a metallic, a silver, white, or, probably some other color. So yeah, So I think that's something you can check out. And I've also seen them used as a backsplash. So that's an option as well.
Oh, that's a cool way to use it. That's a good idea. And and they come in different sizes. Like Anita was saying, hers are really large. They do have smaller ones, that would be more like a actual tile, what you would think of like a backsplash tile size or a bathroom tile size. So, where you see the advertisements for those sorts of things, oftentimes they're in like at the back of magazines and stuff. Those older companies that have been making these ceiling tiles for years, that's sometimes where you can find, leads on where you can get them. Or of course you could just Google it. So tin ceilings up 563% over the year before on searches on Pinterest. That's kind of interesting.
It is. And this was another one. Now this one surprised me. Geometric wall murals, which I had to look to see what that was. I really wasn't familiar with it, but it's basically taking some paint. You could use leftover paint or new paint, and then you get your painter's tape, tape out some shapes on your wall, and then just go to town and paint triangles, squares, whatever kind of shape you want. And then, you can have them overlapping and do a whole wall with that. I think that's a fun thing to do. You could some of these kind of look like quilt patterns even to me.
If this was a video, you would see that I'm making a scrunchy face. I don't like this one. Okay. It's just, it can stay on the list. It's up 225% over searches from last year. But I don't know, who's searching for this? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of surprised by that.
It's a lot of effort, particularly now when there's so many cool removable wallpapers and stencils and things that you could just stick on your wall, and probably wouldn't be that much more expensive to purchase than buying all these different colors of paint. And geometric shapes don't really move me.
Yeah, not gonna lie. I'm not doing this one. First off, like you said, it's not my look. Secondly, this looks like way too much work. Why wouldn't I, if I really wanted some look on my wall, why wouldn't I just use the wallpaper? The only thing I liked about it was that you could paint over it when you decided you didn't like it 6 months later.
But that was all very good, the way you just presented it as, very democratically,
okay, yes, I'm trying.
This could be good. Yeah, I'm sure it could look cool in the right space for me personally. And I think, to advise someone go ahead and do that, and call me in 6 months when you're done. It's too much time doing that.
No, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. And you don't just need painter's tape is what, they're saying, oh, you need painter's tape. Well, that's a lie. I hate when those DIY things lie like that. You're well, no, that's not exactly. You need a month, and then you need a lot of paint, and you need a big giant wall. And then like, what do you do with your furniture that's in front of the wall? I mean, I guess I could only really see this working in maybe like a playroom or like a hallway.
Okay, let's move on. I think that's not.
Well, I don't want to insult anyone if they like geometric shapes, but it's just not my thing.
Yeah, that one was kind of two thumbs down on that one.
Yeah, but isn't it just a beautiful thing how it makes the world go round?
Well,
225% more people. So that means other people were still looking for it before, but now even more people are looking for it.
Right. Well, and I mean, I like that about the podcast, that we can talk about all these different types. And sometimes we're talking about styles that aren't our own particular style, but I try to have an open mind and
not about that yellow though. You're a little.
I know. Well, the 70s, I told you, I've got a bad,
Ooh, I don't know what happened to you back then. But
I was beginning to wonder myself.
You weren't even born then, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't. Well, I was pretty young. But
Very, yes. In utero, perhaps. Okay, like how about apparently succulents have grown up and become cactus, which isn't really what happens, everybody, and you know that. But
so who's going to tell the succulents they're no longer in?
Well, they can go off in the corner and begrudge the trends with the fiddly fig.
Because they're going to just say, fine, don't water me, and see what happens.
And you know what? They'll survive.
That's my point. That's my point.
Ha, ha,
along
ha.
with the cactus.
Good
yeah,
joke.
That's right.
But
not really. It was really bad.
Cactus, it's up 235% over searching for last year. How to decorate with cactus. Okay. Or cacti, I should say, which is the plural.
I'm thinking I had a cactus in 1974.
Oh, would you stop the 70s?
I think it died.
Tonight you're going to have to watch That's So 70s.
I was a kid. I was not.
Everybody got a cactus, and it would be the one that got the little flower on it. It was so cute. And you named it. I got a cactus all the time. My daughter in her dorm room got 3 cactuses, and she named them after our 3 dogs. And she takes pictures of them to show me when they get flowers. It's so cute. So cute. And little pink pots with little gold saucers. They're darling. So little cactuses are cute. I'm not a big, even though I live in a desert, I am not a big cactus fan. I think xeriscaping is super cool, but I don't know that I'd want to live with it. Plus it doesn't really go with the exterior of my home, but it is really cool. But to have a cactus inside your house, I mean, talk about low care.
Yeah, that would be the thing for me.
It's like having a stuffed dog. Like you're like, whatever.
If I could keep a plant alive, see, that's what it would be.
Well, put your cactus under your cloche. No, it wouldn't like that. It'd be too moist.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even like that. Just leave it out in the open air.
Yeah.
So cacti, go for it. They can be really pretty. And
I'm not anti-cactus. I think they're interesting. I mean, it's not my favorite plant, but I think it. But I mean, it's a plant, so it's interesting. It's green. It's living.
Right. So, I would definitely tell someone to get a cactus over painting a geometric wall mural.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not anti-cacti, so.
Say that 3 times fast. Okay, in general, greenery is up. So plants are up. That's great. Thumbs up for plants. Everybody should have plants in their house. But it is very true. Right now, plants are like the hot thing. If I have a friend who's a real estate agent, and she's like, we don't even stage houses too much anymore. She actually calls like this nursery and rents all these plants.
Oh, really? What a great idea.
Yeah, she just stuffs the house with plants.
I think that's a fantastic idea. I would just like going in the house to see all the plants.
287% over searches from last year on how to decorate with plants. So easy. And there's there's just so many sites and tips from, real garden sites to decor sites telling you, how to take care of the various plants. But definitely if you're into adding some plants, just don't go to a garden center or even like a big box store and just buy one that happens to look good on that day. Do your research, because there's definitely a fairly small list of easy care house plants, because lots of things can go wrong.
So remember before I was talking about having the rotation and then just bring them in, because for me, my plants have always been better outside than inside. So I kind of like the idea of having a rotation so that if they're starting to look a little unhappy, you can whip them outside and bring another one in.
Right. What do we call that? The fresh air fund for your plants.
There's something like that. Yeah. But, this is my favorite one of all the ideas that we're going over today from Pinterest is the greenery. I love the idea of bringing plants in. I think it's a fabulous idea.
Okay.
And they add so much freshness. Yeah.
They do. They do. Another one is stenciling your tile or stenciling your floor, like your laminate floor or something like that. So
that's so hot right now.
Yeah. That's up 1,276%. If anybody cares.
If you've got the laminate tiles, what a great way to update them. I mean, I've seen these done, and it's really amazing how cool it looks once they're painted with these stencils. I love the idea. My only concern with this is, a few years from now, it may not, it may look very, 2019. But I think it's a pretty cool look. Really, I hope I'm wrong because I really do like the look a lot.
I don't think it's going to look. It really depends on what your stencil is. Okay. So if you stenciled, ducks across the top of your ceiling, okay.
1974.
There we go. I'm going to say early 80s, right there. So obviously that is dated. That was probably dated as soon as it dried. But if you do some cool stencil that has, kind of like those cement tiles that have that cool look to them, almost like, I don't want to say Moroccan, but almost that sort of like that kind of look. I think that transcends. Mm-hmm. Or, you do some sort of like black and white even, timeless. Mm-hmm. So, and you can take a really cruddy looking linoleum. Now, I don't really know how this sort of thing holds up because I've never done this. But there is a lot of information out there. So if you're thinking about it, I would do as much research as possible because here is the story. This is a lot of effort, right? Making a stencil on a floor or stenciling your backsplash or something like that. That's a lot of effort. You got to line it all up. It's going to take time. You might want to, chunk it out and do it over a course of, several days or weekends or something like that. So maybe I would test it and do it in an area where people are going to walk on it a lot and see what happens. Mm-hmm. Or if you had a loose one, like if you had a tile somewhere or you purchase one that's similar to what you've got and do it on that sort of laminate material and see how it holds up, because it would be very sad if you had all that effort. There was a girl on my recent laundry room tour. I can't remember her first name right now. But she did a beautiful laundry room. She stenciled the floor. So if you guys, I'll add the link to that tour here in these show notes so you can see. Oh my gosh, my heart broke. She did this kind of gray and white stencil on her laundry room floor, went over the laminate. It looked absolutely stunning. And literally like 3 days later, the whole room flooded. Flooded so badly, like, I don't know, coming from the bottom or something. So all the wood had to be taken up. All her work had to be taken up. But she had such a good attitude about it. And she did it. She was on it again. Oh. Yeah.
Well, I'm very sorry to hear that. That doesn't sound fun at all.
Yeah. Awful. Yeah, but try it. And if you do it, let us know.
Well, this next one, I'm also happy about. I love the idea. But it's kind of a commitment, and that is wallpaper. I've always loved wallpaper. It kind of fell out of favor, and I was kind of relieved a little bit because, again, you put this up. It's expensive to buy it. It's expensive to have it installed if you're not doing it yourself, and then if it's a pattern, so it's probably going to go out of date. So you're probably going to have to switch it out faster than if you painted. So that's the downside to it. But I love the look of a beautiful wallpaper, and this is up. And a lot of the newer wallpapers are not, the traditional ones that I've seen a lot of. Now they're, more geometric, as we've been talking about, polka dotted or just different patterns that are geometric. Anyway, so there's a lot of, But the other thing I do like about this is that there are the removable wallpapers. So that's the plus here. So I think if I were doing this, I would probably do one of those removable wallpapers.
I love wallpaper, and you're right. It seems like so old fashioned and granny like, and everybody's pulling it down and everybody was going all white. But here comes the pendulum. Watch out. Don't let it hit you in the head. It's coming back for wallpaper, really strong. And in fact, I had recently had a wallpaper man here, and he's an older guy, and he's like, I'm so glad I'm still able to do this when wallpaper's now coming back into vogue. And he's probably like 75. And so, hopefully he wants to keep working. Hopefully he has a couple more years where he can be getting up and down on the ladder and doing the wallpaper. He did a great job in my house. I did, this, it's paintable, but you don't have to paint it. So it's really just kind of like relief. It's white wallpaper that actually kind of looks like ceiling tiles. It's really lovely. And it's from Graham and Brown. And I can link that in the show notes as well. And I was listening to a podcast the other day. It's a gardening podcast, but she was giving all sorts of tips about adding floral bits to your house. And she mentioned this wallpaper that sounded so good to me. So I'll pass it on to you guys. It's actually a part of Magnolia, which I'm not usually a fan of too much of the stuff going on there, but I love this wallpaper. It's called Heirloom Rose wallpaper, and it's black and white. It's kind of similar to the House of Hackney that I have in the wallpaper panels in my living room. And it's less expensive than that. And it's really pretty. And she has a lot of different color waves. So that's a really lovely one to add. Mm-hmm. It would be beautiful anywhere, but particularly in a bedroom.
Well, that sounds lovely. And the last one today are the natural pools. I love this idea. Yeah, because we like the natural things, and we're very much opposed to a lot of these harsh chemicals. And we do, Kelly and I both love to use as many natural products as possible. So, and it wasn't that long ago that they kind of went with the salt water instead of the chlorine pools. I think it does still use chlorine, but they use less chlorine. Right. But now they're going with some chemical-free alternatives are possible. And these use aquatic plants and biological filters to purify the water, which I love.
Yeah, we always, before we lived in this house, we almost always had a pool when we had a house. So in San Marino, we had a pool, and we changed that one from regular chlorine to salt water. And what a difference that made. Oh, it was so much nicer to swim in it, and your hair felt better, or you just, you didn't get that. I mean, you're still breathing in those fumes. So we did not do a pool here. That we just figured, like, the girls are getting older. They're all out. And when we had the pool and they were little, it was so nice to be able to have everybody over, and it seemed like a little mecca in our backyard for the kids, especially in the summertime. So we didn't do a pool here, but if I ever did a pool again, I would definitely consider, and I'm sure by then these natural pools will probably be the way to go. But it's kind of cool to think about, like, that there's actual plants in there that are keeping the water clean. I'm not sure how that all works, but I think it's a great thing. Up 262% people searching for that.
Well, and it's a hot trend right now. It's fairly new. So if you contact the contractors in your area, they may say, what are you talking about? But hopefully fairly soon, if you call them up and ask, they'll say, oh, why, yes, we have this option available for you. Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping. Yeah.
Yeah. Or just make a Pinterest board on it. And then, then you'll find somebody that could do it for you, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this was interesting. This was a little different take on the trends. This is what Pinterest is telling us.
Yeah, but it's from Pinterest, but it's from the people. Right.
Well, that's true. Well, that is true, because I think a lot of times we hear these are the trends, and it's some, I'm using air quotes here, expert telling us.
Right.
But Pinterest, this is what the people are interested in. And so this is a very different result, because we just heard, for example, that the texture, like the macrame type texture art was out. So isn't that interesting? Pinterest says no.
Right, exactly. So, and as we discussed, there's different ways to have that happen in your house with the textile art and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, when you pull it up on Pinterest, you're definitely seeing, parts of it of those, macrame owls are still hanging around. But yeah, I thought that this was such an interesting way to take a look at the trends and to see what people really want in their houses and what they're thinking about. And I think so much of it is, I know, a few things did harken back for somebody to the 70s, but I think most of it is very forward thinking. Like, so, kudos to everybody out there who's on Pinterest. They're not like, hey, how can I get, a word sign? They're thinking about how do I put in a natural pool?
Oh, I love that one. Right. And this just kind of speaks to what we've said before too. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. It's kind of old trends that come back, but they're reimagined a little different way. So, so when the trends come back, they're modified. So there's some, looking back to the past, but there's with fresh updates. So it's fun to see what's coming and going.
Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add Dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health. Potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT. Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. We're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about, visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order.
So are you ready for the...
We got to do our crushes. We don't have time for a listener question today. We're talking your ears off, but let's get a crush in.
Okay. So it's heartworm pill time at my house today. And I know, it's not exciting.
You're always keeping it real.
Poor Molly. It's time to give her one of those horse pills. Which are the heartworm pills. And I have a collie she's very suspicious. She's pretty smart and she knows a little too much. We've tried covering the pill with cream cheese. I've tried grinding it up with peanut butter, but she knows. And so somebody suggested on my blog, why don't you try the pill pockets? And that's what we've done. And you kind of molds around the pill and you can get different flavors like chicken. So they have been very effective most of the time. some days she can eat it off of the pill, but, they work most of the time. And I think for a lot of dogs, they would probably swallow first and ask questions later. But I just have a very suspicious dog. But anyway, we'll have a link to them where you can get them online. But I think they're a good thing. And it's definitely been very helpful. And there's no grinding. I mean, it certainly is one of the easiest ways to go as far as sneaking a pill down your dog's mouth without them knowing what's going on.
That's a great tip. I mean, making it easier is definitely probably the crush part, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Right. I mean, it solves a problem.
Right.
If something's going to make my life easier, I'm going to crush on it.
Oh, yeah, and you don't have to crush the pill. That's a good one. Okay, my crush is something that you guys are going to love.
Unlike the pill pocket.
No, people will love that too. I know they will. Okay. Hey, you know what? I'm not saying another thing because those darn glass food containers, I almost had to eat one because I was making so much fun of you. But I got them myself, and then all these people were buying them and gift wrapping them for Christmas. Yeah, I love it. Okay, but I ordered myself a pair of the faux fur mule slides, maybe that's redundant, mules from Cactus Lounge Boutique. And they came yesterday. You guys.
They're so cute online. Tell us.
They're so cute online. But then you think, I was like, oh my gosh, but it's such a great, they were like on sale for like $15 or something like, so I think with shipping, it was like $20.97 or something like that. And I thought I just had to have that. I kept seeing that she kept styling them with different sweaters and stuff, because I follow, Cactus Lounge Boutique on Instagram, and I was seeing them, and every time I saw them, I was like drawn to them. They look like Gucci on the outside, and then they're fur on the inside. Not shearling, like almost like a sort of a brown, different toned fur. They are so cute. They're so comfortable. And Alyssa told me they run a little small. So, but I went with the 7.5, and they're perfect. So guess what they are now? They're my house shoes.
See?
I have house shoes and glass food
and I
containers.
think you made fun of me for that.
And I might get this pill pocket now for my dogs. But no, she doesn't have that many of them left. So I hope by the time this goes live, she still has some. There's sort of limited sizes.
I get to hear this before it goes live because that's when the things sell out. So now I have a couple of days. Yeah, I have a couple of days to get in there and get them before it's too late.
Oh, yeah. No, you really should. They are so cute and comfy. Perfect. So thanks to Cactus Lounge Boutique for providing those to the universe. Today was fun. I really enjoyed this. And I have to say, I don't spend as much time. When we first started blogging, I spent so much time on Pinterest, as trying to get my stuff pinned to get out there. And, then you kind of like, oh yeah, now I'm on Pinterest and my stuff kind of gets pinned around, and that's nice. I don't go on there as much anymore. And of course, when I was doing my house, I was on there all the time, and anybody's free to take a look at my, house inspiration boards and stuff that I created for this house. Sometimes, I just like to look through them and see what I've used and where we've gone and what I forgot about. So those are some great boards to look at. Anita has gorgeous, gorgeous Pinterest boards as well. So it was fun to dive back into the world of Pinterest and see what's going on over there. It's a great place, isn't it? It's like a happy place. And
lots of great ideas.
Yeah. I like that Pinterest exists.
Me too.
So thanks everybody for hanging out with us today. And hey, if you have something that you're searching for on Pinterest or something that you think would be really great to add to this conversation, please email us and let us know, and we can talk about it in an upcoming episode. So thanks for hanging out with us today. And remember, we're always here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time. I want to remind you that we are available for design consults. We take on your design dilemmas, questions, renovations, any project you want to talk about, any room, any space. We are here for you. And we really do enjoy doing these. And I think we've helped people a lot. So if you want to sign up for a consult, head to the link in the show notes. It's decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. We hope to talk to you soon.